Choo-choo, motherfucker, on the Chukagian train.
Hello and welcome to the Golden Octagon MMA Podcast. I am Matt Anderson. On the other side of your screen, we have my man, Dorian Rose. How you doing, man?
Doing good, man, and good to be back. We were just kind of talking about it even before starting, kind of excited to do the pod today, even though it feels like, it's a Wednesday. There's not really too much to talk about in between the two fight nights, but excited to be here, man.
As always, we're here to talk about the fights for you guys. So I'm going to give you guys a quick rundown of today's show. So up first, we're going to talk about this past weekend's fight night, Jan Blehovich versus Alexander Rakitch. We're going to talk about the main card at least and just a few other prelims from that. We're going to move on down to the next topic of the 205-pound, the light heavyweight division in the UFC. Right now, the ruler is Glover Teixeira taking on Yuri Prochazka next, but we're going to talk about what else is going to be happening in the next upcoming weeks. On down to the next topic of Dustin the Diamond Poirier. There's a lot of news kind of recently about him, so we're just going to dive into that just a little bit more here today. Up next, fight news. Any of the upcoming fights that have been announced or worked on over this past week, we're going to talk about them. Not really about them. I'm just going to get Dorian's opinion of them. And then finally, we're going to close off today's show with this upcoming weekend's fight night. Holly Holm versus Kaylin Vieira. And then, before we get into it, if you guys please don't mind, put a thumbs up on the video if you enjoy it, or if you don't enjoy it, that would also help us very well. And any comments, put them down below as well. All the feedback is greatly appreciated. And if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, come on now, help us out. Subscribe to the channel. With that being said, let's get into it, man. So up first, let's talk about this past weekend's fights. Jan Blehovich versus Alexander Rakitch. The main card, the prelims, we're going to dive into it. I guess we should kind of start off with our picks and announce you the and still this week because of technicalities. So every week, me and Dorian make our picks on the upcoming fights. And
Champ is here.
Out of the 5, one of us have to take home this plastic ass UFC belt. He gets it this week, but only on a technicality because it was a draw this week. So let's run down it real quick. The main event, Alexander Rakitch versus Jan Blehovich. We both did pick Jan Blehovich to win by knockout. And it's kind of how it ended, man. But we're going to talk about it.
Technically, it is.
One of the two that we picked differently on was Ryan Spann versus Iwan Cutelaba. I was convinced that Iwan Cutelaba was going to crush Ryan Spann. Ended up not happening. Iwan ends up getting choked out with, I don't know, just some clumsy mess. But Ryan Spann does get the job done. Up next, Davey Grant taking on Luis Smoko. We did both pick Davey Grant here. I wasn't sure how it was going to go after the weigh-ins Friday. I was still confident in Grant, but I wasn't so sure in the finish. But Davey Grant ends up getting the finish done anyway. Fight number 4, Kaylin Chukagian versus Amanda Hebus. We both said Kaylin Chukagian by decision was the way to go, and that ended up the way it went. But a lot of heat online. I've been seeing robbery a whole lot. I don't see it. And then the one that I did win this week against you, my girl, dude, Viviane Araujo taking on Andrea KGB, and also some heat on that fight too with Tony Kelly taking on Adrian Yanez next, but what he said in between rounds. But so that being said, those are results, and this guy with this plastic belt on his shoulder is still until this upcoming weekend. Hopefully I can get the strap
Let's
down.
go.
But all right, man, for I guess for the recap from last weekend, man, do you want to kick it off, man? Where do you want to start?
Let's start with the main event, and we were kind of talking about it before we had kicked off, and I felt bad in the way it ended, and I guess one of the mantras that I always go by in life is setting a low bar, just an easy bar to clear. You set low expectations. So if something exceeds that, then of course everybody's good. I think us setting the bar so low on the Alexander Rakitch fight, with him always being born, he kind of came out and pressed a little bit more. I'm not gonna lie, he pressed the action a little bit more. I think he could sense that the title shot was on the line with the win, and he started off pretty good. You could just see, and I think the most frustrating thing about watching him is you can just see the physical presence he is. Like, just he's freaking huge for the division. Like, I didn't realize how much bigger he was in Jan before they faced off with one another, and just seeing the size difference, I was like, dude, it's crazy. So and he's super fast. He's got power. People just get aggravated with him because they want him to press the action a little bit more. And it seemed like he was in that first round, because he sliced Jan up pretty good with that jab, and Jan's eye immediately got sliced, and it was a big gash right underneath his eye. He ended up, Jan ended up overcoming the jab, and he had this one combo that he kept throwing. It was like a left hook to the body, a straight right, and then he was throwing the body kick, similar to the combo that he was throwing against Dominic Reyes. And it's like, when he starts pressing forward with his pressure, if you can't stop him and he throws those body kicks, man, he's just going to wear on you. And I do think he wore on Rakic good in that first round. And I think in that second round, Rakic just played the game and wrestled him and ended up controlling him for that round. Now, Jan had some moments where he almost had him in a triangle. I had never seen Jan off his back like that. So to see that, he had those type of skills, you could tell he's really been working on his game since he lost to Glover, because Glover really dominated him in that position where he was able to hold his own against Rakic. And then, of course, there in the third round with Rakic with his leg, I think overall I just came away from it just feeling bad, and it was just so anticlimactic to see the way it ended, because I thought even though Jan was winning that third round, Rakic was definitely showing some game. Like, he was definitely not getting blown out by any means, and hated the way it ended. And now he's going to easily be out, a year or so. So it almost just takes him out of the picture altogether. So just came away, it was a fun fight for a while it lasted, and I just ended up feeling bad for Rakic, even though all the smack we talked about and going into the fight.
Yeah, it sucks to see him go out like that, but I mean, it is the game, dude, and it wasn't like Jan's fault at all. He didn't kick him there, he didn't hurt him there. It was just strict movement, and he just fell down, dude. So yeah, sucky way to end, but glad to see Jan got the dub. It sucks to see Rakic hurt like that. But anything else on this fight?
Yeah, nah, I'm good.
All right.
I thought I had something else. I was like, nah.
Moving up next, Iwan Kutalaba taking on Ryan Spann. Me and you were disagreeing on this fight, but I'll go first here. I liked how this fight opened up. It was complete recklessness at first. Both fighters were fucking throwing haymakers, like, with intention to kill, dude. There was no doubt about it. They were both trying to knock each other out. It ended up getting the best of Iwan because he was so reckless that he was almost like slipping and like falling like all over the place. That ends up being like the detriment to his fight. Superman ends up catching him in a guillotine off of a slip overhand that he threw, and he just sunk that up standing and subbed them from there. You got anything else to add here, man?
Man, so the thing of Ryan Spann, I can see why the UFC has always kind of given him opportunities, because similar to Rakic, dude, he's so freaking, like, he's massive, and he is also in the running for one of those guys that has the biggest butts in the UFC, because that dude got a honker on him. Pause. But that dude, I mean, he is that dude's a specimen to say the least. But no, he's a big guy. He's fast, and you can see just him against Ion Cutelaba as well. And Cutelaba, he's no slouch, and just the size comparison, it was just Span was a monster, and he was much faster, and there was a lot of exchanges that they had, and you can see the Span. He was crushing them a little bit in those exchanges, and that's when Cutelaba went to go to the wrestling end. And I knew that Span had good jiu-jitsu. I honestly thought that Cutelaba was just going to get reckless, similar to what he did against Ankalaev and get knocked out, but he ended up getting reckless, similar to how he always does, and just ended up getting caught up in the choke. And I think for Ryan Spann, that was just a good win for him, just to be able to get that monkey off his back, because he ended up having that bad loss to Johnny Walker, and then he just got beat like redheaded stepchild against Anthony Smith. Anthony Smith just beat him senseless. So it was a good bounce back win for him to come off of those types of losses and to have that quick of a win against a tough guy like Cutelaba.
I think I just had the Anthony Smith fight so fresh in my mind. That's like, man, if Anthony Smith is knocking this guy out with the jab, like Ewan's going to land something that's going to knock him out. But maybe the beard.
But I think part of that
helped a little bit.
But I think part of that too is that a lot of guys end up underrating Anthony Smith, which I can do the same thing from time to time. But I think it goes to show that Anthony Smith, like, that dude can thud, and he's a good fighter as well. And I think that's not a bad loss for Ryan Spann. He did look super chinny, and he's been hurt in his fights before. But you can just see why, they give him opportunities like this to be the co-main event and stuff like that on these types of cards. Because, I mean, if you just look at the hand speed, his submission ability, he definitely ends up having an entertaining fight pretty much every time he fights. So, just a big win for him to be able to come off that loss. I just think people underrate Anthony Smith too much.
Yeah, it could happen. I'm still not going to go forward putting any money on Ryan Spann simply because he's just showed that his chin can be cracked, and this is 205, man. These guys have power.
Oh yeah, I think it's dependent on the matchup. I think if he's matched up against like one of the top ranked guys like Anthony Smith, I think he's going to end up having some trouble. But if he's fighting, Cutelaba, he's a good fighter, but he's tend to show mistakes in a lot of his fights. So I think going up against guys like that, I think Spann, he'll have a pretty good chance. So.
All right. So moving on down to the next one, we got Dangerous Davey Grant taking on Luis Smoka. You want to lead it off here, man?
Yeah, because I like Dangerous Davey Grant, man. That dude. And one of the things that I love about Davey Grant is there's nothing better than watching him fight in the apex. Because I don't know if I hear harder punches land than his. And it's just literally he winds up like it's like he's supercharging his punches, and it comes from the freaking back room, and he's just coming to take your head off. And I thought similar that he was going to be able to do it by decision, but he really put a lot of pressure on Smoka. And Smoka showed a good chin there at first because he got dropped there in the first round and was able to get back up and actually ended up putting on a pretty good second round. A lot of people thought he won the second round, but man, that ending sequence where he just because I was actually standing outside smoking as this fight was going on, but I had it pulled up on my phone. And Amber was watching it in the bedroom. And when it happened, I was like, oh, man. And Amber was like, yo, did you see that? And I was like, yes, I seen it. She was like, I've never seen anybody get punched on the ground like that and get KO'd. Like a guy sitting on his knees and punches somebody and KO'd them. She was like, I've never seen anybody do that before. So Dangerous Davey Grant, that dude, he is always in an entertaining fight, never in a boring fight. And you can just go through his last few fights, and that dude, he earns fight of the night, performance of the night, every time he's out there, and he's must see TV.
Dangerous Davey Grant always puts on a hell of a fight. One thing that stood out to me was Smoka here looked really good on the scales, dude. Like he looks like he put on another like solid 10, 15 pounds of solid muscle. Like he used to fight like at 125 every now and then. The dude looked jacked at 135. So I thought that it was going to be a tougher fight than what everyone else thought. Like I didn't think that Davey Grant, I was like, man, like Davey Grant might not finish this kid. I had a few bets. Davey Grant, like fucking by decision here, but those end up getting busted out. It was some solid odds too. Yeah, man. Good fight overall. Shout out Dangerous Davey Grant. Always doing the damn thing. Always dangerous. What's up?
The thing that kind of stood out to me the most about Luis Smolka is the new head of lettuce that he had. Because it looked a little funny, man. He definitely looked like Max Holloway's little brother. If I could have had them two, standing side by side of one another, because he definitely looked like he had a similar to that Max Holloway growth there.
Definitely some Hawaiian brotherhood there. All right, moving on down. Katlyn Chookagian taking on Amanda Ribas. There was some heat here, man. This looked like any other Katlyn Chookagian fight to me, with Amanda Ribas really trying, dude. She was just coming forward, just winging. She did get Katlyn Chookagian down a few times, which surprised me because usually like Katlyn has pretty good takedown defense, and Amanda Ribas was coming up from 115, so that kind of threw me off just a tad, but it was kind of late notice too, so who knows there. I thought Katlyn Chookagian won this fight all 3 rounds. I saw a few people being like, damn. Well, I don't know if it was all 3 rounds, at least 2 of the rounds. I saw multiple people pissed off that like Amanda Ribas didn't get the dub at the end of the day. What did you think happened here, man? Do you think like the decision went in the right direction, or do you think it also should have went the other way?
Choo motherfucker, on a Chookagian train. Yeah, man. I mean, by decision, Katlyn Chookagian, I mean, if she's not fighting Valentina or if she's not fighting Andrade, you can pretty much guarantee she's going to win by decision. But I think she's actually been kind of wiping the stain a little bit of being a boring fighter, because that fight was actually pretty fun. Now, you got to have a good dance partner in order to have a good fight as well. And I know her last fight against her win against Vivi Araujo, as we'll talk about her here in a little bit. That was a fun fight between Chookagian and Araujo as well. But I think it's talking about this fight, I do think that Ribas won the first round. I think she had like a little bit more ground control. I thought that Chookagian sort of came on late in the round, but I think Ribas, if correct me if I'm wrong, I think she had about close to about 3 minutes of ground control. So she had enough ground control in the first round to, I think, where it evened out in her favor. I do think in the second round she ended up getting the takedown, but only had it for about like a minute or so. About a minute and a half, and Chookagian was able to get up, and I think she was able to do enough on the feet, because some people were saying that those are little pop shots, but some of those shots that she was landing, especially those, she was landing a good 1-2 on Ribas, as Ribas just kept walking forward, and she started stuffing her takedowns toward the end of the round. And then I thought in the third round, I thought it wasn't even close. Ribas had like a little flurry there at the end of the third round, and almost maybe could have stolen judges' eyes. But I think the way it went, I think it went Ribas won round 1. I thought Chookagian won round 2, and I thought Chookagian won round 3. I thought round 3 wasn't close, and I thought that Chookagian, she ended up having what ended up being a fight of the night. So I know she's called a boring fighter, but that was actually a really good fight. She's so fluid in her combos. She's such a smooth striker, which is why I like watching her. She's not the most powerful. She might be too technical sometimes, which makes her end up being boring. But if she has a good dance partner, she can end up having a fun fight as well, which ended up getting her the fight of the night bonus.
Indeed. Yeah, it was just like I didn't expect anything else but that to happen. Like not much else. So moving on down, we did not talk about, we did not pick on Frank Camacho versus Manuel Torres. I probably would have picked Manuel Torres there, and Alan Nascimento taking on Jake Hadley. We did not pick that one either. What we did pick was the main event on the prelims, which was Viviane Araujo taking on Andrea KGB Lee here, man. And I want you to go first here, man. I want you to let the people know why you picked KGB Lee to win this fight, and if what I said was correct when I said I think Vivi's got a solid 2 rounds in her, and I think she's gonna be able to put enough pressure on her for those 2 rounds to win over those 2 rounds. What do you think happened here, man?
Well, what I thought happened was, man, you see in the first round, you see how potent KGB is, man, because she ended up dropping Araujo with a jab, and then as she's going to pick herself up, just cracks her with a head kick, and she ends up falling face first. And even was it John Anik or Brendan Fitzgerald, one of the commentators on the call, even ended up mentioning that they think that Andrea Lee had woken Araujo up when she hit the ground, went in for the ground and pound. So she almost should have just walked off and let her just fallen face first. But man, all the credit to Araujo, because she did get pieced up there in the first round. But in the second round, I thought she was still able to maintain her pressure, and KGB just wanted her to back up for just a second, and she went in for the takedown. And as soon as she went in for that takedown in the second, it was at the very beginning of the second round, Araujo just ended up, just taking advantage of the mistake and ended up getting a lot of ground control. And then there in the third round, I thought that KGB was trying to force the pressure on the feet, and she was forcing the pressure on the feet, but was setting herself up to get taken down. So I do think in the end it ended up going the right way. I just thought that man, Araujo, she showed a lot of heart, ended up getting almost finished there in the first round, possibly finished, ended up waking back up and still winning the fight.
She's for sure got that dog in her, dude. Like me and you, like both fucking talked about this, like on the last week's show, dude. She has that grit. Like she's not going to give up. She's going to be in your face the entire time, plotting, tired or not. She's going to be fucking swinging. And it showed it, dude. She's got a heart of a fucking warrior, dude. She got dropped early. Aside from that first moment when the fight very first fucking started, I don't think she did anything else that round. And I think like fucking Vivi from that point on, she had the pressure on her. She was actually landed more punches than her, I think, at least. And she had the power advantage with the hands, at least. I don't know. That's just what it seemed like to me. But anyway, I enjoyed what the outcome was overall. Vivi got it done. I enjoyed seeing her ground game, because we haven't seen it too much in the UFC. She tends to plot forward and fucking throw haymakers to try to get these chicks out of here. But like we got to see like a little bit more of her ground game like this past weekend. And also what stood out to me was everyone tends to think that Andrea Lee has like lights out fucking ground game because of what like she did over on Antonina. When I've been yelling this at the top of mountains for as long as I can, it's like Antonina is not Valentina, and Andrea Lee's ground game, I wouldn't consider it to be like elite ground game, and everyone just thought that she was going to have the advantage there, and I just didn't see it. Anything else with this fight, man?
No, other than that was one that we had chalked up as one of the fights of the night, and it I think for the most part it definitely lived up to it. A little lackluster there in the third round, but Vivi was doing what it took to get it done, and
she was tired.
she was exhausted. Rounds, she almost got banged out in that first round too, but that was definitely a fun fight.
That being said, Dorian this week is Anstill. He's gonna lose it this upcoming week. He already lost it, so look at him. He already don't want it. He already don't want it. So we're just gonna talk about a few of the
champ is here, baby.
about a few of the prelims real quick. one that I for sure want to talk about is the Michael Johnson taking on Alan Patrick fight. I don't know if anyone watched my Change to Cheddar this past weekend, Friday night going into Saturday morning. That is when I upload it every week. Quick plug for those of you who don't watch it. But I saw this right away. I was like, Michael Johnson looks fantastic this week, and Alan Patrick on the scale, dude, could not lift his fucking arms. Early on in the fight, I was worried, but in the end, Michael Johnson ends up getting that fucking KO like I wanted. I didn't put too much money on this, but I did put a 5 on it and a 120 from it. So you can't be too upset at the small little dub there. Michael Johnson gets it done by TKO. Dude, he crushed him twice while he was out on the mat, dude. Destroyed him. Did you watch this fight, man? And if so, how do you think this fight went?
I did end up getting the chance to watch it. It was about right as soon as I got off work. I ended up pulling up, and that fight actually had just started. And Michael Johnson, he ended up showing his hands, just the hand speed, man. Even still at the age that he's at, and I know Alon Patrick, you know, he's older as well. But I just thought for the hand speed for Michael Johnson, that's just what's always made him so dangerous. And I know that he had said, you know, not only his job, but his life was on the line, you know, going into this weekend. And I think that was sort of the mentality that brought that old dog out of him. And, you know, for him to just hit that step back left, you know, it was similar to when you go back and watch the Justin Gaethje fight, man, the angles that he takes to land the punches that he lands. I mean, it's just a thing of art. And I can literally go back and rewind and watch some of his best moments with his combos. And he's just so fluid with his boxing. I think he could literally, like, if he had wanted to, he could have been a professional boxer at one point. That's how fluid his hands are, man. And glad to see him, you know, be able to, you know, get off the skid that he was on and get a devastating knockout like he did.
On any given day, Michael Johnson could be champion from 145 all the way up to 170, dude. But at the same time, he could also lose to like the 15th ranked person at the same time, dude. It doesn't make sense. Michael Johnson has shown such flashes of brilliance, dude. He is the menace indeed. I love me some Michael Johnson. He still shows that he has that power. I'm glad he got it done, man. Any other prelims on this fight card that you want to talk about, aside from the opener, Nick Maximov beside taking on Andre Petrovsky? Because I do want to say something about that fight.
That was actually the one I wanted to talk about, just to say that.
All right, fair enough. So let's jump into it, dude. So that's the only other fight that I actually really wanted I could talk about. Aside from the Japanese fighter just now debuted, I don't know how how impressed I am by him, simply because this dude missed weight and he couldn't, like, this dude, Carlos Candelario, dude, he looked terrible, and the dude seemed to just be turtling up on the ground the entire fight. And Tatsuro Taira, dude, it's almost like he had the opportunity to finish, but he was so worried about getting that choke. That's the only thing that he wanted, man. Like, you gotta try something else. If the rear naked's not working, man, give him some GMP, dude. Like, stop trying for that rear naked. Take an arm, go for arm bar, do something else. But it's like, if the rear naked's the only thing you have in your arsenal, dude, I don't know if you're good enough to be beating everyone in the UFC like you're touted to. But yeah, that's the only thing like I want to say about that one. Like the dude is still ended up getting like the win, but Nick Maximov versus Andre Petrovsky. Go ahead, man.
No, because that was actually one of the fights that I ended up tuning in to watch right before I ended up getting a little busy at work. But when I ended up tuning in, I was like, you know, this is one of the Diaz proteges going to come in, and that was actually one of the bets that I had on a couple of different parlays. Now they were small $1 and $2 parlays, but multiple parlays with Nick Maximov by decision, and he ended up going to the ground. And you can see Petrovsky, dude, he is a freaking tank. And as soon as it went to the grappling, he was able to just end up securing that choke. But I was just so surprised to see it happen with the quickness. And when it happened, the ref rushed down to Maximov's hands and pulled him up. And I was like, nah, he's still good, man. He's still good. And then all of a sudden I saw his hand drop and I was like, what the hell? All my damn bets ended up getting busted on the first damn fight of the night, dude. I was like, this is crazy. But that was a hell of a submission from Petrovsky.
Yeah, I feel your pain, man. I don't think many people on earth thought Andre Petrovsky was going to sub Nick Maximov there. Nick Maximov had come through the Contender Series at like he fought at either 205 or at heavyweight, like to get like in the UFC, just wrestled the dude to death. So I didn't think that it just kind of threw me off, like that Alec Petrovsky was able to get that on him, because I just thought he would have like the power advantage, like the strength advantage, and it just kind of threw me off. But I guess it goes to show that anyone can win on any given day, dude. And you gotta watch out if you're gonna go on the ground like with another like jiu-jitsu guy that's known for chokes, dude. You have to know that that's something that could happen. But he was an undefeated fighter. Probably didn't think that he could like lose, like especially to this fucking guy. And then all of a sudden he fucking wakes up. Like what happened? And yeah, like you get to look up and see you got choked out by the tough guy that you were like, man, I'm gonna beat the shit out of this guy. Yeah. So that is the fights from this past weekend, man. Anything else?
Nah. I think we've pretty much covered that whole card.
Yeah, I was kind of excited for the fights going into the week, but as they were like starting and like I had a few of my bets fall out, dude, I was just kind of bummed out. Like the third fight of the night, I was like, fuck, man, like I don't even know what's happening, dude. And like the rest of the night, I was just kind of like in a weird mood, but ended up being, I guess, like all right fights, but nothing that I want to have to call up. So I'm like, oh my God, you have to watch this or anything like that.
Oh yeah, plenty. Like I said, most of the parlays I had ended up getting busted after that first fight. So most of the night I ended up watching was just out of pure fandom. It wasn't much of a betting line I had going on.
Yeah. All right. So fair enough. We're gonna move on down to the next topic, the 205 light heavyweight division in the UFC. There were 2 fights this past weekend, so that's 4 fighters right there. We got 2 upcoming for the championship: Glover Teixeira versus Yuri Prochazka, one of my favorites. We got Jamal Hill recently fought, destroyed. Who did he fight? Johnny Walker, or did he fight someone after Johnny Walker?
Who?
He didn't fight anyone after Johnny Walker, right? Like Jamal Hill?
No, he hasn't fought since the Johnny Walker fight. No.
Yeah, so he's there. That's all it really.
He's the number 10.
Is he really number 10? I feel like he belongs.
Yeah,
I feel like he belongs higher, dude. Like he's going to be up there soon.
Oh yeah, he definitely will. I think part of it was the Paul Craig loss. Yeah, the Paul Craig loss. So that ended up setting him back just a little bit. But he is matched up with Thiago Santos right now, which I had the UFC rankings pulled up right, and this is just based off of what their rankings are. But Santos is number 6. So Jamal Hill goes in and gets a win against him. That'll probably, put him in that 6-5 range. So he'll be right there.
We also got Magomed Ankalaev there, but dude, I feel like he needs like at least 2 more fights to prove to us that he's not going to bore us to death for 5 rounds every fucking fight, dude. Because at first he was a finisher, dude, like the spinning shit, like he was like knocking people out, and then
dude, he had one of those front kicks too, he had like Anderson Silva front kick type too, and then he ended up throwing a follow-up punch. But he was finishing a lot of guys for sure.
And then the past 2 have just been complete snoozers, dude. It's like, what the hell, dude? So with all that said, man, what fights do you want to see be made in the division like right now? Like at one point this was the premier division in the UFC. Like all the talent rode on this division, dude. And then now it seems to be the one that it's got to be the one that I guess I care the least about, dude. So your thoughts on the 205-pound division and just one or two that you think would one or two fights being made that you think would kind of like spark the division up just a little bit.
Well, there are a couple of good matchups that are set up right now, but I guess one of the things I want to see is just one quick question, and it's just related to our last topic, talking about the fight night, and since we're talking about the 205 division, do you think that Jan, coming off of the win that he had, do you think that he's worthy of a title shot? Coming off that win, because when Glover Teixeira that same night, he said, if I end up getting through Yuri and you win your fight tonight, I'll give you a rematch. Do you think that Jan is deserving of a rematch if Yuri ends up getting through Glover?
That's a whole lot of
vice
things
versa?
that's got to happen that I don't see happening, dude. I think Yuri's going to crush Glover. I don't even see that being in the realm. But if perhaps,
or just in
Glover
general, do you think Jan
beat,
gets the next title shot?
I don't think he should get a title shot from that. I think he should at least have to get one more solid win. Match him up with Ankalaev, dude. Like,
Yeah.
Let's see you ruin two boring ass fucking fighters' knees in two fights in a row. Let's see that. I'm just kidding, dude.
Yeah, because I actually think that because Anthony Smith and Magomed Ankalaev, they got a fight coming up on July 30th, and that'll be a very good fight. And I think that actually the winner of that fight very well could fight Jan, because I do think that Jan also, I agree with you. I think that he needs one more fight. If he was able to finish Rakic like a clean finish, maybe, but not him coming off of an injury like that. And you could say that maybe the leg kicks or whatever, but that was a clear. Jan kicked his lead leg. It wasn't his rear leg. He just sort of jumped back and went to reset, and his leg just exploded. I mean, we've seen weird injuries like that before. So I do think he needs one more fight.
10 to ACL tears too. Like, he's already tore his ACL twice in his left leg, and now this is an ACL tear in his right leg. So it's a problem that the dude just seems to be prone to. But as you said, the dude is massive, dude. When you're moving that quick and you're that big, dude, that's the reason why all these like huge like NBA players and shit, it's so hard for them to like fucking stay healthy all the time, because they're sprinting full speed down the court and like stopping on a dime or jumping as high as they can, when it's like in reality people that big shouldn't really be doing that. Like, it takes a lot more in like energy and wear and tear like off your body, and he's a big guy. So for sure some interesting matchups. I like Jamal Hill like fucking versus like Thiago Santos. Anthony Smith versus Ankalaev, as you said, that's a fantastic one. Man, I really want Yuri to be the champion so bad. I'm like, yeah, that's my fucking guy. Like, he just makes me so happy. Like, he's got Yuri. It's probably, and we'll talk about him this the upcoming weekend, but it's like Yuri, Michel Pereira, like Francis, they just get my heart racing. I just love watching it. I'm just glued to the screen, like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen next, dude? Like, my eyes are just glued, just waiting for them to either, in the case of like fucking Francis, completely demolish a guy, like send him to the shadow realm, or the other two, like, what are they going to do? Like, what is Yuri going to do that is going to, because it's like, you never know what's coming, like with him. But like with like Michelle, dude, he he just doing backflips during the fights. So it's like those three
Fucking
dudes.
cartwheels and shit.
Yeah, but yeah, dude. I'm so excited. Like for Yuri to come back, dude. I just want to be the champ so bad. Um,
Yeah, we got a couple more weeks for him to come up. We got a couple more weeks, and that fight's coming up, man. But
yeah.
I think you put the winner of Magomed and Anthony Smith up
That's
against
exactly what
Jan.
I was gonna say. Like what I was gonna say was, I think you right off the bat you do the winner of Ankalaev versus Smith as the if Yuri wins as the next contender to the championship. But obviously, if Glover beats Yuri, I mean, if he's the champion and he's going to call out Jan, I mean, UFC is probably going to make that fight. That's tend to how that happens. You said like you think like the winner of that should fight Jan.
Yeah, I do. I think the winner of Magomed and Anthony Smith. I think it only makes sense because I think Ankalaev is kind of a guy who's gotten himself in bad favor with UFC fans. So I think that even if he is to get through Anthony Smith, people will end up also underrating Anthony Smith just like people did Ryan Spann. But I think they'll end up underrating him and say, oh, well, you need another big win, so why not put him up against a former champ? And I think for Anthony Smith, you can say that he's getting some good wins. And then if he wins, maybe he just needs, one more big win and put him up against Jan. And I think just the way that fight ended last week for Jan, it was just so anticlimactic. Even though it technically was a finish. And I thought he won the first round and was looking good in the third round until the injury happened. I just don't want to see him get an immediate title shot off of a guy's knee exploding with no cause from him, just a guy having bad ACLs in general. So I think that's the fight that only makes sense next for what you believe is going to be the challenger for Yuri's title next.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna throw one name at you, and I want you to give me where you think he fits at into this division, whether it be like top 3, top 5, that like 7 to 10, or is he like 10 to 15? The Mauler, Alexander Gustafsson.
I mean, at this point, I'm going through the top 10. I think Volkanovski is number 9. I think he could beat Uzdemir, but I think him and Uzdemir train with each other too. So I'm not sure if they'll fight each other, but I think if they were ever to match up, I think he could beat him. Jamal Hill's number 10. That's not good news for Alexander Gustafsson if he gets matched up against him. There's a couple guys that in the top 10 that I think he might be able to beat. You got Thiago Santos. I think at this point, I think Gustafsson should be able to beat him. You could put him in the top 10 as of right now. You got Nikita Krylov at 11.
That's
Ryan Spann at 12. Who's Nikita Krylov?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So yeah, Nikita Krylov's 11. So yeah, if he ends up going in and getting a win against him, I think he could very easily be shot right back up into the top 10. So, and as I'm going through a lot of the guys, I think there's a lot of guys up there that he can actually beat if the right Alexander Gustafsson shows up, because that there ends up being the guy that we've seen and he just goes in there and gets dominated, and we just didn't expect it. So it depends on what version, but the best version of Alexander Gustafsson, he's at least top 10.
Fair enough. Yeah, I don't know why. I just kind of want to see him like just back, just like at least I just like want to see him get just a taste of the title, dude. Even if it's for a fight, the dude deserves it, man. He was always like right there, just the top of the division that wasn't John or DC, dude. And it's like I just feel bad for him, and I just like really wanted to see like him to get just a taste of it, an interim title at least.
Yeah, no, he's been one of the fan favorites, and then he ended up having the two close fights with DC and John, and both fights you could argue that he won, and they didn't go in his favor, and then he had the loss to Rumble, and it almost seemed like after that loss to Rumble, he had just he hadn't been the same the Mauler Alexander Gustafsson that we were used to seeing in that in those DC and John Jones fights. Now I think after the Johnson fight, he ended up getting the fight with DC afterwards, which is crazy, um but yeah, I think if he's to come back to the division, if he beats Krylov, he's definitely with his name alone, I think just a couple fights away from fighting for a title shot. So I'd like to see him back and active.
That'd be nuts. Like you see Alexander Gustafsson fighting Glover Teixeira for the fucking title in 2 fights, dude. I'm like, what the hell?
Dude, I was about to say, look at Glover, man. He's 42, 43. So, I mean, it's not like it's impossible. I think Gustafsson, he's probably still, I'm sure he's about 35, 36. So,
yeah, something like that.
Still, especially in the higher weight classes too, a lot of times you really don't start aging out until you're closer to 40, so he's still got plenty of time to make a run if he can stay dedicated and everything.
All right, so let's move on from this topic of the 205-pound division, and let's talk about one fighter in specific. We highlighted him this week. Our fighter this week is Dustin the Diamond Poirier, dude. Some news: he's been tweeting a whole lot this week. He wants a fight, and it looks like it's going to be at 170, dude. And his most recent tweet was at Colby Covington. It said, July 30th. But in an interview with Ariel, he said that he doesn't want to fight Colby because he doesn't want Colby to earn $1 from him altogether. But then later on in the interview, he said that was the only fight they offered him. It was either that fight or wait until the end of the year for like a number 1 contenders match. But me personally, I would just argue you beat Colby, you're the number 1 contender at 170. So I feel like that's a number 1 contenders fight itself, dude. So on the diamond, man, what's going on? What do you see happening here? Do you think that he's going to fight at 170? Do you think he'll stay at 170? And just his comments recently, man, what's going on?
Well, I think with him and Colby, I think they're just going to always go back and forth just with the rivalry between ATT and Colby now. I think that's always just going to be a thing, especially with Masvidal and all that's been going on here lately. So I do think that they're always going to be chirping back and forth with one another. Don't really think that Dustin's going to end up winning that fight. I do think that's just a bad matchup stylistically for him, and I don't think that Colby's going to be able to submit him or anything. But I do think that him being a little bit of the bigger guy, he always says that Dustin Poirier doesn't. He cuts more weight than Colby does. Regardless, you can still say Colby's about 6 foot, so he's still the bigger guy overall. He's going to have a little bit more mass, so his wrestling advantage is just going to give him that much more of an advantage over Dustin. So I do think that's a bad matchup for him stylistically. So I do think you were talking about him having the number 1 contender spot for 170, but I don't think that he's going to win any problems with Usman, man. I think that would be a really bad matchup with his wrestling and Dustin's known to, and not as of late, but he gets hurt in his fights every now and then too. So I don't think a fight with Usman will go too well if he ends up getting his chin tested in that fight. But I think for Dustin, I think the best move for him is to stay at 155. There's just so many fire matchups that you can make right now. Just end up staying at 155 in the number 1 contender spot. Because honestly, if you go back and look at it, his fight against Charles Oliveira, yeah, he ended up getting submitted, but he didn't get beat down like Gaethje and Chandler did. Now he ended up getting kind of smothered there in the second round, but he really kind of had a little bit of the advantage on the feet. and he was able to not take as much damage as Gaethje and Chandler did. But of course, he's been dishing out a lot of damage to everybody. So, take that for what it's worth. But I think the best move for Dustin is probably just stay at 155. Just so many fire matchups there. You can't mess with any of them.
I think you're forgetting someone else that's also moving up to 170, man, and it only makes sense. Could you imagine Dustin versus Conor 3, like for the 170-pound championship, or 4 for the 170-pound championship?
Yes, 4.
Well, 1 was so long ago, I just forget about it now, dude. It's just like how many years ago now? Fucking forever ago.
I do not want to see them fight again. Hell nah. Do I want to see them fight again? I'm done.
But if they're both at 170, dude, and Dustin seems to be at the top of the division, if he beats Colby, dude, he's going to be at the top of the other division. And it's a fight that's there, dude. It's there. And UFC's all about money. That's a huge pay-per-view. You can't say it's not, because like the last one is the second number 1 selling one of all time.
Yeah, it's because Conor ended up turning into the asshole that he was, because he ended up losing the second fight because he didn't expect to get blasted the way that he did by Dustin. And in that third fight, I mean, it's similar to how we were talking about the Rakic and the Jan fight. You hate to see Conor get the injury that he did, but he almost kind of set himself up for it, because he was continuously throwing leg kicks, and Dustin Poirier even mentioned to him to stop throwing the leg kicks in the fight. He's saying that he was going to check his leg kicks, and I think that ended up just having overall sustained damage and what led up to the injury. But I could really go without seeing a fourth fight. I would much rather see Dustin Poirier and Nate Diaz.
I know you could. Yeah,
I would much rather see.
But what is the UFC?
I mean, you can put Conor against it. You can put
to the casual fans that want to see Conor in a title fight, and
you can put Conor McGregor against a broomstick, and it's going to sell. It doesn't matter.
You have to think it has to be a winnable fight. I almost feel like Conor versus Usman, that's not as winnable as Conor versus Dustin.
What has Conor shown that has been in any sense a winnable fight against Dustin Poirier? We've seen 2 fights now.
He's knocked him out. It can be done.
Almost a decade ago.
It can be
almost
done.
A decade ago.
But it can be done.
It can be, but that was almost a decade ago. The most recent evidence that we've seen is Dustin has pieced him up pretty good on the feet, and even in that third fight, people will say that it ended up going down on the ground, but the only reason why it went down on the ground was because when it was on the feet, Dustin Poirier was giving him the beats, knocked him against the cage, and Conor jumped the guillotine because he was trying to recover. So Dustin has shown enough in the last 2 fights for me to not want to see a third one until Conor's able to show me to do something. I mean, you could take Conor and match him up with this piece of Carmex chapstick, and it is going to sell over 1 million pay-per-views. I mean, the guy's just he's a promoter. He's going to do his thing. But I don't need to see him and Dustin again, at least so soon. I need some type of separation from those fights.
This is what Dana White's going to do? And be like, what makes more money again? Conor versus Dustin? Oh, yeah. We're for sure making that fight. Yeah.
But is Dustin taking the fight?
You're not telling me. You have to convince, believe me, I don't think that fight should happen at 170. I don't think either one of them belong at 170. I personally think Conor was the best at 145. He was a monster there. I personally think
he's not making 145 again.
Exactly. So that being said, it's like, bro, I just hang it up, dude. Announce your retirement and be done. But Dustin, I believe, should stay at 155, but he ain't going to be the champ, dude. That how that went is probably going to happen every fucking time, dude. Fucking Charles now is just the fucking Terminator Apparently, I fucking Dustin's in like limbo to like reel it back in here. He's in limbo, man. I think he should stay like at 155, but all signs point to him moving up to 170 to fight Colby Covington. I don't know if it's going to happen. If it does happen, you got to favor Colby. If by some miraculous chance he does beat Colby, does he stay at 170? Like you're up there, like you just beat like the number one, like ranked, like fucking welterweight. Why would you not at least try? I mean,
No, but I mean, I think he ends up becoming, and he's kind of became that already. But I think he's just become like a money fighter at that point. You know, not quite Nate Diaz as far as what he means culturally. You know, Nate Diaz is like
all right. How about this?
the
Jorge Masvidal.
similar, yeah, similar star as far as being a big commodity, and you could take just him against anybody, and it doesn't have to be a title fight, and you can still headline that on the pay-per-view because people are going to watch him fight. I think if he gets a win against Colby, I think you can just match him up against anybody at that point. Nate Diaz, Conor McGregor. I mean, even though I don't want to see a Conor fight again.
You're telling me that if he beats Colby, you don't think that they're going to try to match him up against Usman?
I'm fixing my camera by doing this.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think so. Just because no, because I don't think that Dustin's going to end up taking the fight. I don't think that's a smart fight by Dustin by any means. And I think that a fight with Colby would sell because you have the backstory of AT&T or AT&T, as if they're the damn phone service here at AT&T with American Top Team and Colby. You got the rivalry there that you could bring in all that backstory with to sell the fight more than you can with Usman. So I think with Dustin at that point, I think he just becomes a money fighter and takes basically all the money fights that he can take.
I don't know. It's for sure an odd situation. All right, here. I'm going to walk you through this. Lean close to it. Now stay here for a second. And now slowly back up. Because last time you just like flung backwards and like immediately got like blurry as shit. There we go. Look, okay. So, all right, cool. So that being said, Dustin Poirier, man, I don't know what's going to happen with him. Looks like he's going to fight at 170 against fucking Colby. Who knows what's going to happen next? Who knows if that's even going to happen? That being said, let's talk about some upcoming fights, man. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Only got 5 this week, but some pretty interesting names. Unless you have any more to add, and then we'll get to some other fight news that you said you have to talk about. So up first, on July 2nd, we got Brad Riddell taking on Jalen the Tarantula Turner, dude. That is a solid fight. Good test to see where Jalen Turner is really at in the division, because we saw Rafael Fiziev fight fucking Brad Riddell, and then he seems to be maybe at most 3 fights away from like fighting for a title next, dude. Like after you fight fucking Brad Riddell, you're up there, man. And Jalen the Tarantula Turner, dude, solid up and coming prospect. Huge for fucking 155, man. What do you think about this fight?
Dude, that's a barn burner. With Jalen Turner, him coming off his last fight, I think it was against Jamie Mullarkey, and I remember, Jamie Mullarkey, that dude's as tough as can be, and Jalen Turner just walked him down. He's so fast with his combos. I think Brad Riddell, he's just one of those guys. He's got a big blockhead, and he's just built like a brick shithouse. So it's going to be hard to finish him. I know Fiziev did, and Fiziev's just on a whole nother level. But I do think a matchup between them two, that's absolute fireworks, because both of them are great strikers. got good power, and Jalen Turner's just so big for the division. So that's going to be a freaking barn burner, whatever card those on.
I got Jalen Turner by sub in that fight, dude. I think he's going to show why he's called the tarantula here, dude. He's going to fucking snatch him up, get on his back. Jalen Turner, rear naked choke. That's how I'm calling that one. So on July 16th, man, I got three I'm going to throw at you. We got two fighters that I confuse all the time going up against each other. We got Bill Algeo taking on Billy Quarantillo. Billy Quarantillo. I said Quarantillo. Bill Algeo taking on Billy Quarantillo, dude. Another fucking barn burner of a fight. All the makings for it to be fucking fight of the night, man. What do you think here? Or how about that? That is like July 16th. Also, we got the Li Jinliang taking on Muslim Salikov on July 16th, and Ricky Simon taking on Jack Shore on July 16th. What do you think about those three?
The Billy Squared fight, that's that's gonna be something to behold. Now, Quarantilla, he usually ends up coming to bang. Win, lose, draw. That dude, he's coming to bang. So, that should be a really good fight. Ricky Simone, you said he was fighting Jack Shore.
Undefeated Jack Shore, yeah.
Well,
I don't know why Jack Shore's not fighting on the London card, so that's kind of odd. But he is a Welshman, so I guess it's a little bit different.
It seems like Ricky Simone ends up having these decent performances, and he always ends up clamoring for not getting a top matchup, and then he ends up getting matched up against like some dude who a lot of people aren't going to hear of, or he gets up getting matched up in like gatekeeper type matchups. So. I end up feeling bad for him because it seems like he can never catch a break as far as trying to break through up towards the top of the division. And then what was the other
and this
fight?
One's going to be a tough one because fucking Jack Shore, dude, he's good. He's really good. The other fight is the Leech taking on Muslim Salikov.
Yeah, the Leech is definitely going to need a bounce back from the Hamza fight because he hasn't fought since then, correct?
I don't think so. And then the last one, dude, you didn't tell me you were fighting on August 13th. Fighting GM3, Dorian Rose. I'm just kidding. Bruno Silva taking on Gerald Mearshart, GM3 on August 13th, man. Another banger, man. Who you got winning that one?
I gotta say Bruno Silva. I think he's just that dude's a savage, man. And
Betting
for him
yourself,
to take the shots from, yeah, dude, I'm taking it all the way to the bank. Well, the picture that I seen, he had hair in it, so it looked a little different seeing him with hair. But yeah, that dude's a savage, and that's a good matchup for him to get a good bounce back win coming off that Alex Pereira loss.
I'll be sure to put a picture of Bruno Silva next to you, just so everyone can see the comparison that I'm talking about. But
I still don't see it.
So that is the upcoming fights that I wanted to talk about. But you said you had some fight news to talk about, man.
Yeah, just one of the things that I had seen, I just wanted to get your opinion on was, I know, earlier yesterday, one of the news that it came out was, Kamaru Usman and Leon Edwards. I think it was August 20th that they were trying to work it out for. There's a pay-per-view that they're going to take to, Utah. And, not too long after that, announcement came out, or not an announcement, but a report. After that report came out, there was another, tweet from Brett Okamoto that said your boy Ali Abdelaziz had mentioned that that Usman was going to have I guess some struggles coming back from his hand surgery, and that there's no timetable for his return right now. And I do think that's pretty interesting because just talking about that matchup with him and Leon Edwards, I think that's a good matchup overall, but we just don't know when it's going to happen, and it seems like Leon's just not not catching any type of break whatsoever. So I think in this position, I think, it's pretty interesting as far as where they're going to go. Do you think that they end up going with the interim title fight if Usman ends up being out for a little bit longer than they're anticipating?
Personally, I think it's odd that, we heard like the rumblings that Conor wasn't going to be back in June or July like everyone thought he was, and then about a few days later, Usman's all of a sudden like, oh yeah, me either. So it's like, I know that's also a fight, dude, that's being clamored about, dude. Conor's getting like everyone's fucking mouth chirping away right now, and it's crazy to say because it's like the dude hasn't even won in so long, but the fans still love him, dude. The biggest pay-per-view star of all time, dude. How like he just gets the people going. People love to hate him. People love to talk shit. People love to talk about us getting mad at talking about him when it's like that's just what people want to hear about, man. I think that's also something that could be playing into the shenanigans, dude. So earlier, like when I was like, yeah, something's not healing right, that healing right must be like, oh yeah, also Conor's not healing right, so we might need to just push this off just a little bit longer, dude. How much would it surprise you if Conor got a title shot over Leon Edwards?
It would really surprise me because he's coming off of two really bad losses.
But could you see it happening though?
If he'd had any type of momentum, if he was coming off that Cowboy win, maybe. But having the two losses to Dustin in the way that he did, I just don't see how you could just throw him right in there immediately and be able to justify it. I think you could still match him up against anybody and, be able to get him a comeback fight. Maybe match him up against like a Tony Ferguson. But I don't need to see him fighting for the title right away, especially at 170. No.
Hey, dude. It's not going to surprise me if like we hear like fucking like December 2022, like Usman versus McGregor. He's going for 3 belts, dude.
I'll tell you
Like,
what I believe will happen more. I think more likely that Masvidal would get a third title shot than McGregor getting a title shot.
Yeah.
More reason. So. I can see Masvidal getting another shot before McGregor. That's how much I don't see McGregor getting one right now. Just coming off the losses and fighting up a weight class, I just don't see why that would. It would just be really hard to. It would be really hard to justify, especially coming off the losses that he's got.
All right. So to answer your question, do I see a interim title fight happening? If it's not going to be for the rest of the year, probably. Like if it's going to be like March next year, like until he's going to be ready to go, I say yeah, they'll probably make one like later on this year. And like I see your face, like who do you think is going to do that? It's got to be Leon Edwards versus Khamzat, right? That's the fight that was going to happen, unless Colby versus Khamzat. But one of the two, it has to be Khamzat, right? Because that everyone wants to see Khamzat as the fucking champion at this point. So if they're going to do an interim, Khamzat versus fucking insert a name, Colby, Leon, or fucking Gilbert 2, 5 rounds. I'm fucking down for it, but you got to put Khamzat in there if you do an interim.
Who do you got winning?
For who?
Khamzat and Leon. If Khamzat and Leon do fight,
come on,
I think that's a fight to make too.
Come on now, like I've never seen Leon. Like, has anyone ever like rushed Leon? Like, hey, motherfucker, I'm coming at you. I hope you're ready. Like, I haven't really
it's really hard to.
But it's like, I don't think anyone's had put that pressure on him, dude. Khamzat is like Yuri with the pressure, man. Like, that's one of his things is the fucking all out pressure nonstop. So I don't know, man. Maybe the Luque was the closest fight. Like, but Luque is like patience, like still though. So I don't know, dude. I I fucking gotta think fucking comes out wins that fight by demolish.
I was gonna say, well, we thought that, or not we, you thought that he was going to smash Burns and ended up turning into what was fight of the year. So, but yeah, I do think if that ends up turning into an interim title fight, I don't think there's, it would have to be Leon and Hamzat, I think, at that point. And then, the winner of them two would be able to fight Usman. But I do think that would be a super interesting fight, man, just because both of them, I think both still need a little bit more validation. I still think, Leon, and I was a guy that was pounding the table for Leon there for a little bit. A lot of people still do think that he needs a little bit more steam coming off that Nate Diaz win, considering the way it ended. So I think, honestly, a fight between him and Hamzat you could slap an interim title fight on it just to satisfy both parties involved. But I think that's kind of just a glorified number one contenders fight turning into going into the Usman fight. So I think that would be the fight to make next if Usman is going to be out for an extended period of time.
I bet Hamza would be a 4-1 favorite in that fight still. He'd be minus 400 still in that fight.
Yeah, I think so too. And that's just from the betting perspective. I mean, that's just from the betting perspective. Now you'll probably be able to get him, by submission at, plus 220 or something like that. But, you might be able to get some better odds by submission or by decision. But yeah, he's definitely going to be the favorite for sure. That's no doubt about it.
Yeah, man. So, the Usman hand news, that's the only thing you had this week for us?
Yeah, that was kind of more, you kind of covered a lot of it as far as the fight news and stuff. That was more, I did see that they're looking to reschedule Robert Whitaker and Marvin Vettori, I believe. Yeah, they're looking to reschedule that for a card in Paris. So any early thoughts on that fight?
If Rob shows up, I guess cool, but man, it's like, I don't want to give Rob shit, but falls out of fights a lot, man. And it's like, if he shows up, cool, but I'm not going to start getting my hopes up until fucking fight week, maybe. Like, when it's like, oh shit, like, yeah. Here he comes. Like, because he is good about pulling out like a few weeks like in advance, like, like it ain't like 2 days before he'll fucking pull out. Like, it's usually like 2-3 weeks like in advance, gets us all fucking bummed out, but it is what it is. Yeah, man. So that's the fight news for this week. So that being said, we are going to move on to our final topic this week, the fights for this upcoming weekend. We got Caitlin Vieira taking on Holly Holm in the main event, UFC Fight Night Holm versus Vieira. That is what is being called. So that is the main event. The co-main event is Santiago Ponzinibbio taking on, I said it earlier in the show, one of my top 3 most exciting fighters in the UFC, Michel, the Demolador Pereira. And then middleweight fight, we got Chididi. Middleweight, we got Chididi Njonkwi. No, I think this is, yeah, this is like
Angie Kawani.
Who am I thinking about? Kidney Nzechukwu. That's who I'm thinking about. This is a different guy.
Angie Kawani.
Yeah, Chidi.
He's a beast.
His fight name is like, isn't it Bang Bang?
Yeah, I think it's Chitty Bang.
Yeah, so something like that. Anyway, he's taking on Dusko Todorovic. Should be a banger, man, because in his last fight, Dusko showed that he's not this straight up striker that everyone like was like, the dude's like great on the feet. He the dude's got a solid ground game, and he showed it in his last fight. I believe, am I talking about the right person? Because now I'm like shit. Who did he fight last?
Uh,
Did he get a sub? Oh yeah,
honestly, I'm
Maki Pitolo. He fucking got the G and P on him, dude. That's what it was. Yeah, but
yeah, that's right. That's right.
So he's the Chitty taking on Dusko. Moving on, Polyana Viana taking on Tabitha Ricci. Interesting fight for the strawweight division there. Polyana Viana, a fan favorite. Tabitha Ricci also becoming a fan favorite as well. One that I'm interested in. I don't know. One that I will have my eye on quite close, I guess. Eric Anders taking on the Iron Turtle, Jung Young Park. Prelims, we got we got the return of the one known as Ugly Man Joe taking on Alan Amedovsky. Never heard of that guy. Jelton Almeida taking on Parker Porter, dude. Remember Parker Porter fought John Jones, dude. That's his claim to fame. That's what everyone talks about. In every Parker Porter fight, they're like, this guy fought John Jones early in his career. It's like, so what, dude?
That's his claim to fame, is that you get your ass kicked by John Jones. Congratulations.
Yeah. But he's taking on Jelton Almeida, dude. This dude is fucking jacked. Jelton Almeida is one to watch out for. Usually fights at 205. This is a heavyweight bout, so please remember that. Omar Morales taking on Uros Medic. Another good fight. Jonathan Martinez taking on Vince Morales. Vince Morales looks like Adrian Yanez, which in turn also looks like Jorge Masvidal. So Chase, we got the return of Chase, the Dream. What'd you say?
I said a young Masvidal.
Yeah. We got the return of Chase, the Dream Hooper, taking on Felipe Corrales, and the first fight of the night, Elise Reed taking on Sam Hughes. All right, man. So the main card there, we got 5 fights on the main card, and then on the prelims, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the prelims, so 11 total. Man, do you want to do the main card picks, or do you want to pick a few of the prelims? It's up to you, man. I'm gonna let you run the show. You're the champ, man.
Well, let's do.
I'm clearly unranked.
So
shout out Sugar Shop.
So let's do 5 fights. Let's take out the Polyana Viana and Tabitha Ricci, because I'm not too familiar with Tabitha Ricci. So let's do Eric Anders, Park Jun Young, and then the Chitty, and then the top 3 fights. And then let's do Chase Hooper versus Felipe Corrales for that 5th fight. So Chase Hooper and Felipe Corrales, and then the only fight on the main card is the Polyana Viana and Tabitha Ricci, because I'd probably just pick Viana just because I know who that is, and that's it. But
I got you. So we're gonna replace that with the Chase Hooper fight.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna do the main card minus that one, and then the Chase Hooper fight included. All right, so up first,
and then if you
Holly Holm taking on Kaylin Vieira. So I got to be honest, dude. Holly Holm's getting older, and it's like, fuck, dude. It's like, at what point is she gonna stop being? I don't want to say the 135-pound Kaylin Chukagian that she's just decisioning these girls over and over, because she does have some flaws. Her ground game isn't the best. And if there's one person that'll for sure test that, it's going to be Kaylin Vieira, dude. Interesting fight, because Kaylin Vieira she has power and she does put pressure. I can't go against Holly Holm, man. I have to pick Holly Holm. That's the way I'm going.
Man, I think it's a pretty interesting fight.
It's a very interesting fight. Very.
Yeah, especially with the clash.
It's a great matchup. Yeah, it's just what it is.
Yeah, the clash of styles, man. I think that's really what it is. Because Kaylin Vieira, she's not. A lot of the Brazilian chicks, they do Jessica Andrade, Viviane Araújo. they got this chip on their shoulder, man, and they just walk forward and almost just don't care what you throw at them. And I think Caitlin Vieira sort of fights with that similar chip on her shoulder. She's got that dog in her, and I think she walks forward. She surprised a lot of people in that Miesha Tate fight. I think with Holly Holm, her striking so sharp. She's improved on her takedown defense. She's managed to reel off a couple wins in a row. I actually am going with Caitlin Vieira for the win. I think that she's going to be able to ground control her enough and ride off with a decision. So give me Caitlin.
That wouldn't surprise me, man. It's for sure not out of the realm of possibilities, but you think by decision.
Yeah, give me by decision. I think she has a lot of ground control. And yeah, she rides off with a decision.
Fair enough. So already we got one difference of the night. Ponzinibbio versus Michel Pereira. Dude, it blows my mind that Michel's 28 years old, dude. Michel's 28 years old with 41 fights already. And he's 28 years old, dude.
Crazy, dude. It's crazy. And he looks like he's about 35 too. Is the crazy part.
Yeah, taking on Santiago Ponzinibbio, which actually is 35 years old, 29-5, going on against Michel Pereira's 27-11 and 2 no contest. So roughly same size. Both guys are around 6 feet. Michel Pereira got a 1-inch height advantage. Both reach 73 inches. This is tough because I want to pick with my head and not with my favoritism here. Straight up, I just want to go, come on, let's go, Michel. But Ponzinibbio has looked decent in his last fight again. But then again, Miguel Baeza hasn't looked too great recently either. So that being said, dude, I know I'm just going with my gut here. He's a favorite. He's not my favorite, but one of my favorites. He's the younger guy. He has the fight experience, as crazy as it sounds, being damn near 10 years younger. But I got to go Michel here, dude. Michel Pereira. Probably by knockout too, dude.
Yeah, well, I think Ponzinibbio, I think he's super tough. So I think by a knockout, I think unless Michel Pereira catches them with maybe a flying knee, similar to what he did with Danny Roberts, I do think it's going to be hard for him to finish Ponzinibbio. But Ponzinibbio, I think one of the things that's going to be hard for him against Michel is the size. And Michel, that dude, he's also a freaking tank. And I think for him here lately, he's been fighting a lot more patient and has been willing to not do the goofy ass cartwheels and backflips and try to stand on top of the cage and do the frog splash, Eddie Guerrero style, and try to crush somebody. Once he's kind of honing in his skills a little bit, he's actually showing that he's got a lot of good polished skills. And, if he's able to just kind of stay within himself and stay controlled, he can definitely show the world that. So I think he's going to be able to get a win this weekend as well. So give me Michel.
Oh, a little bit of a surprising there, dude. I thought you were for sure going to go Ponzi there. You were a favorite of Ponzi. So I was like, well, fucking Dorian's for sure going to pick Ponzi here. Michel Pereira is the only fighter in the UFC that can legally kick someone in the head multiple times in multiple fights and not a point taken, no words spoken, nothing, dude.
I mean, does the backflip and lands on guys and kicks them in the head as they're going down and they don't say anything. I'm like, dude, what the hell is going on here? What is he even doing?
Like, hey.
Dude, what the fuck is going on? Yeah, I'd be pissed too.
Yeah, who knows? We actually might see a Swanton bomb this weekend. We're both going Michel here. So up next, Chitty taking on Dusko. I'm not even going to try the last name this time. I fucked it up enough.
Todorovic.
No. Chitty's last name. I got Dusko.
Injikawani.
Yeah.
Injikawani.
So, Chitty taking on Dusko, dude. Because of what we've seen in the last fight, dude, Dusko, I don't know why I just thought that he was just this lethal striker. I think like on the Contender Series, like that was his thing. Like he just knocked the dude out, and then his like first fight in the UFC, the dude leaves his chin up in the air though, and that is an issue because he does get cracked. But with all the hype around this dude's ground game and how he finished, was it coconut bombs or is it Punahele Soriano in his last fight? Either Pitolo or Soriano. I think it was Maki Pitolo, yeah?
That's what I'm actually trying to it was Maki Pitolo, yes it was.
Yeah. So he did finish coconut bombs in his like last fight via ground and pound.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta be honest. I think this could probably go the same way. What's the size on these dudes? Are they roughly the same size? Roughly the same size, dude. Oh wow, Chitty's got an 80-inch reach though. That might be a fucking problem because Dusko leaves his chin up in the air. This is a tough one to pick, dude. I'm gonna bet this doesn't go to decision. 21. I'm going Chitty here, man. I just changed it last fucking second out of nowhere. I was going to say Dusko by sub, but Chitty's got the experience. He's got the reach. He's a little bit bigger of a guy, and he's a tad bit older, too. Maybe in the prime of his career. Who knows, dude? I'm going Chitty.
I was waiting for you to pick Dusko to Dvorovich because I wanted to pick Chitty, so you didn't pick him. Because yeah, I think Chitty, that dude, he can crack, man. I don't know if you've seen much of him, but his Contender Series fight,
like I seen his last fight in the UFC. Who did he fight last? Because I remember
it was Marc-Andre Barriault, and dude, it was a KO, and yeah,
and I was like, oh shit, because like. Power bar.
He knocked him out in 16 seconds.
He's tough.
Yeah, he knocked him out in 16 seconds, dude. So yeah, that dude, he is lights out, and like you said, the reach. That dude, he's gonna be a problem in 185 dude, if he can kind of hone it in.
Fucking Dusko fucking backs up from every punch. Watch this Saturday. Watch.
He's looking, no, like someone tells him to look in the air before he backs up, and he's like, just leaving his chin up in the air, crimson chin style.
It's bad, dude. If he does not get this to the ground as soon as possible, it is going to be a problem. So moving on down to our next pick, because we both picked Chitty there. Chase Hooper taking on Felipe Corrales. I know why you picked this one, dude.
I know you're a Chase fan.
I am a Chase Hooper fan. Let's check out some Felipe Corrales real quick before I get just ahead of myself. I'm gonna let you go first here, man.
Yeah. I know you're a Chase Hooper fan, so that was one of the reasons why I wanted to pick this fight kind of going in, and just to Felipe Corrales. Wow, I really had trouble saying that there for a second. He's kind of been up and down in the UFC, but I do think Chase Hooper, he's just so young. I do think that Felipe Corrales, he looks like he's a little bit more of a stout fighter. I think Chase Hooper's just so young, man. He's still 22 years old. He's fighting at 145. He's kind of been back and forth between 35 and 45, and he's kind of made his home at 45 now, but I think give me Felipe Corrales. Give me him by decision. I don't think he finishes Chase, but I think he gets a decision.
I enjoy that pick because after doing a little research on Felipe Corrales only has finishes early on in his career via sub, dude. And as you said, been up and down in his last few. Lost to Montel Jackson. I don't know how I feel about that. Just going to throw that out there.
This is how we do it.
This is a massive size, like fucking disadvantage for Corrales, dude. And he wants to play Chase Hooper's game. Chase Hooper via sub. I don't know. if he doesn't get the sub, Chase Hooper via decision, dude. I'm for sure going Chase Hooper here. The dream is going to get back on track and fuck Steven Peterson. Surprising that you
still
went.
envious of that.
Yeah. You don't fake glove touch someone, dude. All right. The last fight that we are going to be picking on before we close this shit out, we got Eric Anders taking on Jung Young Park, the Iron Turtle. Who you got here, man?
I think, a little interesting in this fight. Oh wow, so this fight's actually happening in middleweight. So no, I thought it was happening at 205 actually. So that actually changed it up a little bit for me. I do think Eric Anders, he's been a little bit up and down as well his last few fights. I really wanted to see more out of him in his UFC run, but he just, it just seemed like he could never get over the hump. Coming off a loss to Andre Muniz, I forgot he did get submitted, but Andre Muniz is a tank too. Animal. So yeah, that dude's a tank in jiu-jitsu. So yeah, there's no shame in that loss. But give me Eric Anders. I think he ends up bouncing back. Especially at middleweight as well. I thought it was at 205. I thought that might have been a little bit of a problem for him, but 185, yeah, give me Eric Anders.
All right, let me tell you who I think is going to win this one. Damn, Eric Anders is going to have a big size advantage over dude, and that's something that we don't see Eric Anders have too often is a fucking size advantage. Eric Anders 6'1", Iron Turtle 5'8", according to Google. So that is a little odd for 185. I don't know if he's that small, dude. Is he really that small?
I didn't feel like he was. I thought he was about at least about 6 foot, but
yeah.
But maybe we might be mixing him up with somebody else too. I'm not
maybe,
sure.
Dude,
I'm good for doing that with fighters. So
yeah, but anyway, I was going to go Iron Turtle here, but after seeing the size advantage, dude, Eric Anders might be a problem at middleweight. How many times has he fucking fought in middleweight? Not very many, yeah.
He's kind of actually split his UFC career at
I know like he
light heavyweight and middleweight.
Like at middleweight, but I know he's like at least his past few were like a light heavyweight.
Well, I mean his last two were at middleweight against
really?
Oh no, the fight against Darren Stewart. So the first fight was at middleweight because you remember he had the no contest where he kneed Darren Stewart in the head.
Yeah.
But that fight was at middleweight.
And the next one was at 205.
Right. So yeah, they he's kind of gone up and down pretty regularly. So
yeah.
I honestly I think it'd probably be about split if he went back and did the actual track. But yeah, he's gone back and forth pretty regularly.
Yeah, you're going to Eric Anders here. I'm not going to be stupid and fuck over my chances at winning the belt this week. I'm going Eric Anders as well. So once again, we got two different picks.
You ain't getting it.
Because for some reason, Dorian wants to copy my picks this week. So that... Yeah, so hopefully that belt comes home with me next Wednesday. It'll be announced. But that is all for today's show all together. Remember, if you guys don't mind, please put a thumbs up on the video if you enjoyed it. And subscribe to the channel if you are not. Show this upcoming Friday, change to cheddar. We try to turn $10 into $100 or more. If you watched me last week and you told me on some straight bets, you probably won some money last week. We didn't hit on the parlays, but that's okay. It is what it is. We can't always win every single weekend, but we can make sure that the weeks that we do win, it makes up for the weeks that we don't win. That being said, anything else this week, man? You want to join me Friday?
Nah.
You gonna have shit going on?
Shit, if I can manage to get off work, you know how that goes. God, excuse me. But yeah, I got to get ready to drain the main vein. So
all right. All right, yeah. So that being said, Matt Anderson, Dorian Rose, go UFC card videos usually Monday and Tuesdays. This podcast is Wednesday / Thursday morning, whenever if I can get it uploaded, and Friday / Saturday morning is changed to cheddar. That's how we do it here, 3 times a week, coming at your face hole. That's it from us here at the Golden Octagon. We'll catch you next week. You'll catch me Friday. Peace.
Peace.